Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Finally, Friday. The clouds keeping temps down, leaking a little here and there. We've got your Friday and full weekend forecast.
How much more can Satan throw at me?
A popular business catches fire, and it couldn't come at a worse time for the owner. We'll tell you about the other tragedies that he's faced in just the past week. But we do start at noon with breaking news, as we've learned that 4 people have been rushed to the hospital after another fire, this one at a home in Detroit. That story topping our news at noon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Evrod Cassimy. All of the victims there suffered smoke inhalation, and they had to be rescued as the flames spread through their home. This happened on Wilshire Drive, right near Chalmers and Outer Drive on Detroit's east side. And unfortunately, their dog did not make it. Local 4's Sean Lay is at the home this afternoon. And Sean, we're getting new information about what might have caused this fire. What have you learned?
Let's get right to it, Evrod. This afternoon, arson investigators just left this house, going over every inch inside. Detroit police officers were also here checking out this fire. Believed the firefighters we're speaking to is that the fire somehow started in the kitchen here, but 4 people were inside. 3 people upstairs, 1 person downstairs. It's unclear right now at this noon hour why all 4 could not get out.
She's signed to the companies inside. There should be an adult male in the house. There should be an adult male in the house.
Local 4 cameras are at Wilshire and Chalmers to capture this frantic scene on the east side. Detroit firefighters working to save a family's dog after a fast and devastating fire swept through the home at 9 this morning. When firefighters rushed in, 3 women were trapped upstairs, a 49-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 16-year-old. Firefighters pulled 2 of them out of an upstairs window to safety. A firefighter then led 1 woman down the stairs. Downstairs, firefighters found a 59-year-old man unconscious. Firefighters had to first find him and then carry him out. What could have been a quadruple fatal fire turned into 4 big saves. All right, again, this fire remains under investigation. We just checked with the fire department. The 59-year-old remains in critical condition right now. Much more to get into with this fire and these rescues coming up at 5 o'clock. Back to you.
All righty, Sean Lay reporting live for us with an update. Sean, thank you for that. A popular business caught fire now overnight, destroying much of the building. Take a look at your screen. This is the aftermath there at the Country Smokehouse. It's on Van Dyke in Almont Township. The market and deer processing plant is in the middle of a 36,000 square foot expansion, and there was construction going on. The owner says the building is pretty much a total loss, and unfortunately it couldn't come at a worse time for the family. The owner just had a heart attack, and he was at his father's funeral when he got the news that his business was on fire.
3 things: my heart attack, my dad's death, and now this. It's like, he's not going to get us.
We've had a rough roller coaster of 10 days between his heart attack, my grandfather's passing away, and now this. They say it comes in 3, and we hope that we're done.
We certainly feel for the family here. They say that this fire will be a setback for them, as you can imagine, but they are promising to rebuild. The cause of the fire is still being investigated. So it was a busy morning for firefighters all across Metro Detroit, and now a residence inn in Novi, right near Fountain Walk, was evacuated this morning because of smoke. Firefighters say that it appears the fire alarm in one of the rooms had been disconnected. Investigators suspect that someone was either cooking or smoking. Thankfully there, no one was hurt. All right, let's take a look outside right now on a day when we might barely get out of the 60s. Right now it's, well, let's take a look. There you can see the sky, beautiful. 57 degrees, current conditions right now, and it's certainly feeling like fall around here. Meteorologist Brandon Rue has the official word for you and a look at how the rest of the day is going to shape up for us.
A lot like it is now, although I think we're going to get back into the sunshine. You can see it's 50 up in Sandusky, Port Huron, but almost 60 degrees in Monroe. So as Evrod said, we're likely stuck in the 50s most of the day here. We have a north wind that not only is ushering in the cooler Canadian air, but we're also seeing more cloud cover developed from those winds over Lake Huron, especially in our north zone where the temps are a little cooler. So we're at 57 now. I think we're lucky to get to 60. Over the next few hours, we will be tracking more clouds coming through, a couple of drips in our north zone closer to that source of Lake Huron. And through the 3-4 o'clock hours, I think we get a little more sunshine as drier air tries to sneak in. But you can see thicker clouds north, not really leaking a whole lot, which is good. But the drier the air, the better conditions for football games tonight, suggesting light jacket, sweatshirt weather, temps falling through the 50s. Could even see upper 40s by the game's end. And Evrod, that means a cool start to your Saturday. We've got it coming up.
Alrighty, Brandon, we'll be checking in with you in just a little bit. Right now, we want to get to an update about that crash that kind of made a mess of your morning commute. Both sides of I-75 are back open now after this accident with a semi-truck. This is video from Sky 4 that was captured of the backup from earlier this morning. That semi crashed on northbound I-75 right at 14 Mile, and it sent part of the median into the southbound lanes, bringing those lanes down to just one. Another car ended up in a ditch during that crash. Crews had to fix the median wall in an area that's already a construction zone. Thankfully, though, no serious injuries were reported, but there's no word on what caused that crash. President Donald Trump plans to send a letter to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi demanding a full House vote on impeachment before the White House turns over documents. Late last night, House Democrats released text messages provided to Congress by Kurt Volker. The texts show U.S. ambassadors working to persuade Ukraine to publicly commit to investigating the president's political opponents. Just a little while ago, President Trump responded to the recent release of the text outside of the White House.
And this is not about politics. This is about corruption. And if you look and you read our Constitution and many other things, I have an obligation to look at corruption. I have an actual obligation and a duty.
As for the inquiry, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Committee, Michael Atkinson, is testifying behind closed doors. Atkinson alerted lawmakers to the whistleblower complaint, believing it to be credible. Well, there's mixed news on the economy that's coming out this afternoon. 136,000 jobs were added in September. That's less than 145,000 economists were predicting, and experts are worrying that that shows signs of a weakening economy. Still, the unemployment rate was 3.5%, a 5-decade low. The new information comes as Wall Street wraps up a turbulent week, with all three major indices seeing some pretty heavy drops. All right, we are in day 19 of the UAW strike now, and there is still no deal with General Motors. Leaders from both sides are back at the bargaining table, and negotiations have centered around wage increases and lump sum payments for employees. Of course, we'll keep you posted on air and online at clickondetroit.com as we get more details about those negotiations.
Next at noon.
We've got new video that captures a paratrooper accident that left nearly 24 people hurt. Find out how investigators think all of these parachutes ended up in these trees. Plus, alarming new information about the vaping epidemic as it continues to grow across the country. We're learning more about what e-cigarettes can do to your lungs.
Hey, birds, bees, and butterflies, our season isn't over yet. In fact, there's stuff we need to be doing right now. The monarchs are on the move, and so we're touching bases with our garden guy to talk about what we need to be doing for the next 3 weeks. And by the way, even though you see plants on sale for 50 and 75% off, doesn't mean you should buy them. I'll explain today at 4 on First at 4.